Hey, let's talk about it, cause honestly we need to talk about social issues, just uplifting my people. Yeah, let's talk about it. Come join the conversation. A connection's what we're creating. Yeah.
What's happening, everybody? How y'all doing? So check this out, right? I'm the type of person that I try to find the lesson in everything that, you know what I'm saying, that I go through. And so yesterday I took my son to his I guess you want to call it open house, because he starts school next week. And so all of his classes are honor classes or whatever. And so as we're going to the open house, we're in the car, you know, we're just talking or whatever. And so he says, man, I don't know how this year is going to go. So I look at him, I said, what you talking about? He said, because my friend had some of the same teachers that I have, and he told me that like two of them was one of the worst teachers. So I, you know what I'm saying, turned on the radio. I'm like, what? He said, yeah, this is what he told me. And I said, let me stop you right there. You're going by something that you heard, not something that you experienced. And he said, well, no, because everybody's saying it. So I said, okay, so who's everybody? Everybody. I said, so who's everybody? Everybody's saying. I said, okay, name me 10 people who said it. Because we started off this conversation, you saying one person said it. Now you're saying everybody said it. So he's like, well, I don't know this and nothing. I said, let me stop you right there. I said, because before we go in here, I need to teach you this lesson, right? Because you are about to take the word from one person and let it dictate your whole year. Now, you don't know that experience that your friend had with this teacher could have been directly because of them. Maybe they were loud in class. Maybe they were, who knows? But you're going to take the word from this person and let it mess up your whole year. So he's like looking at me, whatever. And then I'm like, I said, no, let's go on up in here. So we go in there and, you know, we're going through the classes or whatever. And so we come to the teacher that he said. Now we get in there. This teacher's amazing because she's no nonsense, right? She's like, listen, I'm going to hold you responsible, this, that, and other, blah, 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 right? So as we leave there, I tell him, I said, so that's the teacher? He said, yeah. And I said, oh, she's an amazing teacher. I said, I can see why your friend said that, because she's going to hold you accountable the same way I hold you accountable. Now, you know, as we go, you know, we're leaving or whatever, it's like it finally clicked for him, right? And the reason why I started off with that story is because a lot of us live life that way. Let's just say, you know, somebody that, you know, you don't even know. And then a person is telling you about this person because of their experience with them. But what they leave out is why that experience was that way. You know, case in point, let's just say somebody owes somebody some money, right? And they're not paying them back that money. Then they come in, you know, they're talking to somebody else, and then that person's name come up. Well, how do you think they're going to talk about that person? They're talking about that person because they owe them. So now what they're saying is, yeah, oh man, they think they all that, they, you know what I'm saying, blah, 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 this, that, and other. Oh, really? They think they're all that. But what they're not saying is, yeah, I owe them some money and I told them that I was going to pay them back. But, you know, I went on a trip. I'm out here buying all of this stuff and they see all of that. So they ask me about their money and this, that, and other, right? See, people leave that stuff out. But if you're not careful, that stuff seeps into you. Now, you have not had an experience with that person, but you're already jaded because of what this person said. So now when you encounter that person, you're encountering them from that vantage point. And all of us are guilty of this, because when we look at the blogs, when we look at the news, when we look at all of this other type of stuff, right? There can be a famous person, and we choose to hate that famous person. I hate's a strong word. We choose to dislike that famous person because of what we're reading. We don't know them from a can of paint. So now when that person comes out with a movie, what's the first thing a lot of us say? I ain't going to see that movie. I don't like them. And you know nothing about them. Now that stuff can work in reverse too. See, when you got the right people and you surround yourself with the right people, when you're insulated with the right people, those people will speak life. And then that stuff gets passed around. I remember my grandfather, and I know some people, can't stand that I, talk about him all the time, but my grandfather, I never heard him say a mumbling word about anybody. And I would come to him, right? And I would be upset about stuff. And he would just be monotone. Nah, little Rodney, you don't have to think like that, or you just pray for them and blah 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 blah, right? And I would get so upset because I would want him to be upset, but I would always walk away from that conversation feeling better. Because if I went to him and he fed me what it is that I'm already feeling, I would be satisfied for that moment. But later on, I would be feeling even worse. That's why I always say conversation is a must. Because when you take the moment to text someone and you going off, or you make a post about someone and you going off, or you're not going off, you always read how you feel. So if I'm already feeling a certain type of way, that text, what you doing? Right? It can just be a simple, hey, what are you doing? But because I already have an issue, what I hear is, what you doing? You ain't doing that. That's what I'm reading because that's how I feel. Sometimes, that phone can ring and you look at the name and you like, oh my gosh, I don't even want to answer that, right? But here's the thing. Because you have just had a conversation with someone else and they've told you about this person, now that seeps into you. So the moral to all of this, and to sum all of this up, just like I told, my son, you have to be careful, right? Because until you experience the person, you don't really know, how that feels. And you would be so jaded. You would be so jaded. Let me tell y'all this, and then I'm gonna get out your space. I hear so much about me that if I didn't know me, I would be like, what? If I didn't know me. And I know a lot of people out there can understand that. But see, here's the thing. When you know who you are, when you know whose you are, there's nothing no one can say about you that's going to change that. Nothing nobody can say to change that. See, when you are committed to be better, when you are committed to be better than you were yesterday, when you are committed to be and to walk in your purpose, you're going to catch a lot of flack because your commitment level, I say this all the time, irritates how someone feels about themselves. That's why it's hard for them to clap when you say you got that new job. Man, I'm so happy I got promoted. They can't clap. They can't clap. You know why? Because it highlights what they're not doing. They don't understand them nights that you had to stay up late and stay at work late and this, that, and other. No. They only see the end result. And because you read how you feel, the mere fact that you say you got promoted and they're over here feeling less than, they can't clap. Now here you are trying to make this person clap. Now you didn't got promoted, you didn't got this, that, and other, and you walk away from the situation feeling less than, and you got promoted because you are basing how you feel or how you should feel on how someone else's feels. Listen, man, we are about to, Lord willing, go into 2026. And there's a segment of people already saying how 2026 is going to be better than 2025. But it cannot be better if your commitment level stays the same. your fitness journey. I'm on my way to the gym right now. People say, man, how you wake up so early and go to the gym? I can't do that, this, that, and the other. Well, guess what? Because our commitment levels are different. How, some people, man, how you get up that early to go to work, man, and you there early and this, that, and other? Because their commitment level. Their commitment level is different than yours. How do you eat right and blah, 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 and it's so expensive to eat right, this, that, and the other, and blah, 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 because your commitment level. Nothing can change if your commitment level stays the same. I pray over my kids, right? And I told myself, you're going to have a great year. But I can pray that till the cows come home. It's your commitment level to have a great year. Your commitment level. So anyways, man, I hope y'all have a blessed day. See y'all later.
Hey, let's talk about it, cause honestly we need to talk about social issues, just uplifting my people. Yeah, let's talk about it. Come join the conversation. A connection's what we're creating. Yeah.